Cover Killer Nation, it's time for us to finally move away from stuff that pisses me off and talk about something else. This is going to be a 3-view. Now, there's 2 other people that are going to be involved in this 3-view, obviously, because I'm 1, 2, 3. I have to say something first off about that. It's a 3-view with Runner JMA, who's of course one of the best young reviewers that we have in the community. If you're not subscribed to him, I highly recommend it. And secondly, Count Blagareth, who of course a lot of you probably are subscribed to, but if you're not, also be subscribed to him as well. Not to mention it's also his birthday today on the day of posting, so here on the 19th of January. So happy birthday to you, Sean, and I hope that this is a awesome day of metal for you guys. Sean's also in a band. You guys should probably check out his work too. We're here to talk about Abigail Williams' 2012 album, Becoming. Now, considering what we've talked about so far this week, this is a radical departure. This is going into the realms of black metal, symphonic black metal, and at some points, doom metal. So, this is certainly different than the 2 albums that I've talked about so far this week, which is a good thing, because obviously we saw the results from the 2 albums I've reviewed so far this week. This is a band that has evolved throughout the days and throughout the years of their career. This is their 3rd full-length album, and it's surprising that they've evolved this much in just 3 albums. However, it's a band that consistently seems to be trying to push the envelope a little bit. And with this album, it is different in the fact that they have certainly gone for the more ambitious, lengthy route as opposed to kind of sticking within the safety of 3 to 8 minute long tracks. Instead, this is 6 tracks in length and 55 minutes in length total. And these are tracks that are going to range anywhere from the shortest one being a 2 minute and 21 second long, roughly instrumental, kind of an ambient type feel, all the way up to a mammoth 17 minute long finale. Now overall, whenever I listen to this album, I get a couple of feelings that I will reflect right now. And the first one is that it reminds me a lot of a band from Europe that I really enjoy a lot, and many of you guys know this, and that is the band Forgotten Tomb. And it's mainly in their doomier aspects, and that's something that is exhibited a lot on Becoming, actually. I feel and hear a lot of Forgotten Tomb's cadence in some parts of these tracks, especially in these mammoth, long, 11-minute long, 17 or 10-minute long songs. You know, there's a lot of that similar cadence to Forgotten Tomb. The only difference that you're going to see, the only thing that really distinguishes the 2, which is a good thing, by the way, is that a lot of times Forgotten Tomb are able to display their doom metal sound, their suicidal doom metal sound, all depending on what take you really want to put upon it or what part of their career you really examine, with a lot of disjointed, very dissident melodies. It's something where it's not necessarily going to be a very safe black metal riff or a safe doom metal riff, and that's something that Abigail Williams tends to stick with some very, I guess, safe riffs. And what I mean by safe is that they do have a certain sound to them. They have a certain cadence to them that's kind of easier on the ear than some of the ones from Forgotten Tomb. Forgotten Tomb, a lot of people might have trouble getting into them because the melodies sound just a little bit disjointed and off. They just have this air to them where almost like the musical texture or the musical makeup of it just seems wrong. But that disjointed nature is actually what makes Forgotten Tomb one hell of a band, because they are able to take something that sounds really just random and kind of, you know, really rough, and really transform it into something really great. Abigail Williams is able to maintain that with a very safe riff, something that sounds very pleasing on the ears, but also at the same time still maintains that same evil idea, that same, you know, has that same grit behind it, that same, you know, real passion and power behind it. So that's something that is a nice little combination. This is an album I think it's going to really take a lot of people by surprise. Fans of Abigail Williams and new fans alike are going to be kind of surprised by this, because the people that have been used to the band are kind of used to the symphonic nature of it, and this is something that they do touch base with here on Becoming. However, it's one that's not necessarily the focal point. It's not something that they're, you know, going out of their way to put in every single track in every single moment. They're maintaining a lot of work with atmosphere here. They're trying to use the atmosphere to their advantage, and you're going to hear a lot of moments where there's not very much going on. There's kind of a simplified idea in some of these areas, and that's just mainly to build the atmosphere, build a theme, and really show the, I guess, desolation of a track, the desolation of an idea, and that is going to take a lot of new, older fans by surprise, and newer fans that have maybe been told about this about this band from somebody else, somebody who is a fan, may listen to this and think that they were lied to somewhat, but you haven't been. This is the same band. This is the same band that produced, the last 2 records and has wowed a lot of people. Abigail Williams does sell pretty decently at the store, I won't lie. Whenever a new album comes out, there are people that come out for it, so this is a band that is certainly on the rise. I actually kind of enjoyed this a lot. This was an album that I feel really was able to put together the aspects of their sound very well. I think that they were able to evolve with a certain consciousness to them. I think that their evolution is going to be one that's going to be kind of just in their own format and in their own way. They're not really going to be all that focused and concerned about what the mainstream public thinks. They're not going to be a band that's going to be cookie cutter, where each and every album is going to have to sound the same in order for them to feel that they're extremely safe, that they're not going to lose people. I think that they're willing to kind of test these boundaries because it's somewhat of a musical direction that they've been striving for, that they're very ambitious to try to reach. And with this album, I think this is the pinnacle that you're going to find in this sort of lengthy composition, because at some moments it does get to be a little bit over-ambitious. It does get to be a little bit much. They try to pack in a lot of ideas, and that does create some of that minimalism that I spoke about earlier. Now, the minimalism, like I said, is not necessarily a bad thing. It helps to kind of pull together the overall theme and kind of draw in that atmosphere that they were really aiming for. However, for some fans, I don't think that's going to be something that they're going to be patient enough to really undertake. So I think this will be an album that a lot of people will listen to a couple of times. I don't know if a lot of casual fans, so to speak, will be returning to this album over and over again. But of course, I could be wrong. This actually could be an album that could spark a whole new wave of experimentation, or may cause a whole new breed of fans to really have appreciation for this type of music, and then all of a sudden you'll notice that there are 5,000 New Moon Sorrow fans a week. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that this is an album that was an ambitious quest. It's one that could have had 2 basic results. It's an album that easily could have wowed the pants off of everybody. It's an album that very easily could have been such a failed experiment that people talk about this like St. Anger. What the result actually is neither of the two. It's very strange. It instead falls somewhat in the middle, but leans towards the whole wowing people's pants off side. It's an album that has a lot of good core characteristics to it. It has a good makeup to it. The skeleton of the album is very well thought out. The musical direction is very well scouted. And the writing and the overall musicianship on the album is very expertly crafted. I think that this is a record that people will enjoy. However, I also think, as I mentioned previously, that some casual fans will find this album a very difficult listen, perhaps the 2nd or 3rd time around. That said, I also believe that if they don't get it the first time around, the 2nd or 3rd listen will be necessary in order for them to kind of understand. So overall, I think this is an album that for some will be challenging, but for others will be a very easy listen. So I think that safety net sometimes is what some bands need in order to maintain a little bit of feeling of comfort. And this is a band that certainly crafted a very well thought out metal album. I just think that this is one that may need some 2nd or 3rd listens for some people. I'm going to give this one a solid 8. I think that this one has all the characteristics of a very strong metal album, and I enjoyed it. And I will probably return to it myself because it has a lot of nice characteristics that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the symphonic fade out to the last track. You know, whenever you see that there's 4 or 5 minutes left on a 17-minute long epic, you wonder what the hell they're going to pack it with. And they had a very, very nice, very cinematic feel to it. And just whenever you think that that's all that those moments are going to be and you kind of get disappointed, they craft back into that bass and that drum and they kind of leave it in the background. They leave it in the background. They leave that symphonic mix just a little bit higher to really give you that atmosphere, to give you that darkness, that dark feeling that you expect in albums like this. And that was a very nice touch. You'll find touches like that on the entire album. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Solid 8. Definitely, definitely a far cry from what I've listened to so far this week, and that's a good thing. So congratulations to the guys in Abigail Williams for putting out a great album. Highly recommend this to you guys whenever it comes out. And I will talk to you guys later.